Namaskar, welcome back. Viewers, just last weekend on Media Scan, we were discussing how there is a concerted, a structured attempt to provoke the youth of the country to rise up in revolt, something on the lines of what is happening in our neighborhood, most recently in Nepal, previously in Bangladesh, and even Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, within days of our discussion, we saw violence and arson in Leh. The calm, the pristine mountains of Ladakh were disturbed with violence and protests, which has resulted in certain arrests and a lot of concern and tension among the people. You have also seen how things have been sort of heating up through small protests all along another border state, that is Uttarakhand. And we have already seen clashes happening in Manipur, though, touch wood, there is relative calm there. All this begs the question whether there are certain sinister powers who want to disturb the calm, the peace of our Himalayan states. Is there a pattern behind all this? And most importantly, is the youth of our border areas on the target? We have a couple of well-known veterans to help us understand this whole issue. But before that, a quick look at this report. So, as promised, let me introduce you to our guest for this evening. I have here with me Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni. You know him very well. He has been sharing his thoughts with us on previous episodes and knows all of Ladakh, Jammu Kashmir like the back of his hand. Jai Hind, General, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And also with us, General D.P. Pandey, another veteran who will help us understand why we have suddenly started witnessing all these troubles along our border states. Is it just coincidence or is there more to it? Welcome, General.
I may not know Ladakh is back of my hand, but I have served a couple of times.
Yes, and we know you have had an illustrious career in the rest of Jammu Kashmir. But before I come to both of you gentlemen, I want to go quickly to our colleague right now in Leh who will help us understand the latest situation. Neeraj Singh, our correspondent in Ladakh, can you tell us what is the situation on this weekend? Have things become peaceful and is normal life restored in Leh and all the surrounding areas? Neeraj?
Well, madam, right now if we talk about Leh, the situation in Leh is under control, and after last Wednesday, no incident of violence has been reported in Leh. The administration has taken many security steps after the incident, though markets are closed, but the essential commodities are available for the people. Emergency things like medical shops are open, hospitals are open. There is no restriction on people in traveling from one place to another.
Neeraj, just one another quick question. We want to know quickly, we know there's a long charter of demands that has been raised by the protesters now and even previously. But for the benefit of our viewers, can you quickly tell us in few words, what are the main demands that these protesters had been asking for and which led to all this unfortunate turn of events?
Now, why this sudden violence raised many questions. Investigation has revealed many shocking facts, such as the use of external interference. The biggest thing is that if you look at the way Sonam Wangchuk has repeatedly mentioned on social media, the violence took place in Bangladesh and especially in Nepal. Along with this, if you look at Sonam Wangchuk's statement that the government may not be able to suppress the voice by arresting him, the voice will now be more intense. Then this is also an indirect threat in a way. Thirdly, if you look at the youth here, they want to resolve all their problems through dialogues. The youth here talk about full statehood. Inclusions of Ladakh in the 6 schedules, that take about 2 Lok Sabha seats and maximum reservation in job.
Thank you, Neeraj, for all those updates and giving us such a clear view of things as of now. I will now come to General Kulkarni. Sir, if we look at all the media coverage throughout the week on the Ladakh situation, since this is media scan, I could see 2 very clear strands of thought on this entire narrative. One is that the youth of Ladakh were tired of protesting for their demands and therefore they lost patience. The other view is that there are very clearly external factors who wanted that these youth should do something which will bring them headlines, because the center had already fixed a date for the dialogue. So what was the reason to suddenly flare up in violence? And our reporter has also hinted at some of the points of the investigation. All of this put together, sir, what do you think actually happened in Ladakh over this week?
Thank you, Smita-ji. At the very outset, let me tell you, Ladakh, by and large, is a very peaceful union territory. And
Yes.
it does come as a surprise to see such a thing happening over there. Notwithstanding that, there has been a demand for its inclusion in the 6th schedule, and also the part of it to be a distinct Article 371. The fear, because Ladakh, total Ladakh Union Territory, has a population not exceeding 33 lakhs, with about 46% Muslims, which constitute more from the Kargil area, and about 40% Buddhists, which are focused and concentrated in Leh, 12% Hindus, and the balance about 2% all others. As a result of which they fear that somebody else might just come and take jobs from there. That's one fear. Second, with education, emancipation, and the spread of the Ladakh youths all over, they fear that they may lose their job. They're not that they will lose their job, they may lose their job. It's not so easy to serve in Ladakh, and most others might think. It's very difficult. But it's been on for a long time. Since 2019, even after the Union Territory was created, in fact, the first demand was the Union Territory. All this has come subsequently. Now you find the main character in the entire thing is Sonam Wangchuk. Now, who is this Sonam Wangchuk? An engineer, an activist who has been playing a role. Initially, he is the man who endorsed. He said, yes, we wanted the Union Territory, but slowly and steadily shifted, seeing a kind of funding, also seeing the kind in protest. Some Nepalese also were found in the protest who were arrested over there. It does give a feeling, yes, there is an external hand. There is no denying the fact. But why is there an external hand? Was it not being seen? What's coming forth? Everybody knew what is there. Everybody. It is not that it happened only yesterday. It has been happening for a long, long time. October 6th was the date fixed. Like what you rightly said, then why does such an incident happen? Was it to pressurize the government to give in to the demand so easily? Why were the youths being given? Why were the youths with him and not with somebody else? Where? So there are so many questions to be answered. But notwithstanding that, yes, Sonam is the main person who, also instigated, maybe a few months back he did speak about Arab Spring. He also spoke about Nepal. He also spoke about Bangladesh. He had been, very quiet. I would rather say sometimes they do give a feeling of wolf in sheep clothing. Quietly and, very politely saying something and then being able to instigate the troops. Instigate the people over there is definitely something that we need to worry.
No, so the question here, General, is since you've kind of laid out a picture of what could be possible, especially vis-a-vis Sonam Wangchuk, now that he's under arrest and NSA has been slapped on him, we know that from latest reports that he has also been moved away from the UT. Do you think things will return to calm or will that prove a trigger for more trouble?
No, I don't think there will be more trouble. As I see it, people need to be interact. As I said, only 3 lakh population. What is 3 lakh population? There are nothing very much. Each one of them can be interacted with. There's just 5 people per square kilometer. That is the density of population in Ladakh. So it is not nothing very difficult to handle.
Point taken, sir. Allow me to come to General Pandey. General Pandey, as you said, our friend here, General Kulkarni, is saying that we should, there is need for greater engagement. But we know that the government has already given out a date for dialogue, and it did not end there. When there was some complaint from the, the protesting side, the government even said that, okay, forget October 6th, we are ready to engage even before that. And I think in the next 3 days, there will be a preliminary round of dialogue with the representatives of the protesters, the Leh apex body and the Kargil body. And I'm sure there will be some resolution will come out of it. But meanwhile, are you noticing that similar trouble, similar protests are visible in Uttarakhand? We have already seen violence in Manipur, and small incidents are showing that there is some kind of unrest being built up. How do you look at this chain of events? Do you think there is more to it, or is it just a matter of coincidence?
A lot of people will feel what I'm saying is a conspiracist theory. But the fact remains that in Indian psyche, we look at what is happening just yesterday or last week or 1 year. But I would like to look at over the last couple of years, since the time the Western powers' grip over the region had started shifting and going back. But I'll very quickly cover things which are happening outside the world. Issue of corruption, isolation, reservation, ethnic exclusion are a constant fracture which will always be there, right? The second is the demand for more jobs, more opportunities within your own country, but also if I'm going outside, I must get that job from outside, right? This is a norm which is being there all over the world. But the good part of the Western powers is, or the deep state and all, I'll not say deep state, but the Western powers is, that they nest people, they have people who are well prepared over a period of time, which is not just एक साल के अंदर बंदे को खड़ा किया and thereafter, you have the trouble starts brewing in. They have a long-term engagement, they buy political parties, they buy political leaders, they got the media on their hold, they've got people who are writing articles which continue to focus on fault lines, right? So for example, like in the border area, if you're constructing roads, then somebody else will come out and say that entire area, which is very, very seismic zone area, which is very fragile area, is being encroached upon. Environmentally, it is not good. So, and if you don't, then the same people are going to write letters and articles and papers that there is no road and the central government is not looking at these areas and which are not having opportunities and people are vacating these areas. So these are people who will keep on writing, and certainly now in last about 5-6 years, I get more worried in case somebody gets a Magsaysay award or a Nobel Prize or a Booker Prize. Then you start realizing that these people are investing in ideas and ideals which a youth looks at. Right?
No,
this chap is very, very
but by
innocent
that, going by your suspicion, that raises very serious questions about those foundations and the bodies which give these rewards, isn't it?
Absolutely. So those foundations are meant for these. Foundations are, besides UN and IMF and other places, these are also non-state actors which use leverage, funding, connection. Why should, like if you look at Nepal, why should the ambassador or Chinese ambassador go out and meet everybody in the local community? They don't have the business to meet in that sense, right? So these are all leverages which are kept. Within our own country, there is a political party which has been there for a long time. The opposition party is also now looking to use every possible manner to get back, and that is how democracies work. They will excite, incite, and then when they'll come to power, they'll give something, and majority of time things will remain same. So this is the manner how, unfortunately, the democracy works. Right? It is not a dictatorship where you can wield a hand of the sink. So that is how this whole concept is working. But last 4 years, there has been a shift. Once they have realized the Chinese have come into being, there's a fight for resources, control over areas, and control over government and people. And I can only say that this entire thing is not anti-India. This contest is happening between the US and the China, in which, if you recall, for last about 4 or 5 years, there was not much interest in focused area in Asia which was taking place. Everything was on Middle East, into Gulf area, or trying to contest the Russians. This shift has taken place in the last about year and a half into the areas of this thing. So you see Sri Lanka, you see Bangladesh, you see Myanmar. So when you look at this, this is a push against the Chinese, and unfortunately we want to follow in strategic autonomy. We are neither with the Chinese, nor we want to go with BRICS. We don't want to go with Americans, because we don't want to be surveillance servant to any masters in the world.
True.
And we are big people, we have 1.4 billion population, 4 trillion economy, and we got a leadership which is looking to stand by its own and not ally or falling on somebody else's thing. So now this institutions
So are you
are
saying
going to
that
continue.
because we are not...
No.
Yes, please make your point.
Only at border area. I'll just quickly wind up. Please also look at what has happened around Delhi, where CA happened, how the farmers, why farmers agitation was agitation against the process, how the farm laws were given. But the fact is, there was funding which came about, and everybody knows what exactly happened, right? Now you look at onto the border areas. What is there in the border areas? Border areas are fragile. There is a thing of isolation. There is a thing of divide. Manipur, which was silent for 40 years, right? It is just not that one instigation by the chief minister, everything turned. There was some leverage, some fuel which was added. I don't want to say that everything is external. We have given opportunities from within this thing for the external leverages to come place. Why did you think, you have yourself said that 6th October talk was going to happen? What was the need to excite the population 4 days back?
Right.
Every action. Now, Sonam has been taken into custody. The first thing which will come from the apex body is he should be released unconditionally. There should be no charges against him. Now, will the central government be able to follow that?
I'll come to that, sir. I'll come to that, General, about what can we do in the coming days. No doubt there are attempts to play along the fault lines, but then, I mean, we cannot wish these troubles away. We'll have to tackle them head on. And these are complex things, as you just explained. There is an entire global interplay involved here. But I want to go back very briefly to our colleague in Leh quickly and find out what's, what's on the cards in the next few days. And so we can understand which way things will be going. Neeraj, sorry to keep you waiting. Very quickly, tell us what is the roadmap for the coming days? Have you spoken to the leaders of the protesters? And what can we expect in the next week or the next in terms of restoring calm in the pristine mountains of Ladakh?
If we talk about the next future step, then we can see that these issues people here have been raising from some time. To resolve such issues, the meetings was supposed to be a high level on coming October 6. But before that, the delegation level meeting is to be held on 29th of September, in which 7 people will be present and the rest will be officials from the Home Ministry. The wishes of these people can be discussed in detail and a roadmap can be prepared for the future. We know that the central government has always adopted a positive attitude toward the people of Ladakh.
General Kulkarni, I remember very well, I was in Ladakh that year in 2019, soon after the abrogation of Article 370, Ladakh became a separate union territory and people, they just erupted in celebration, because they had been separated from what they called the Hukmarans in Srinagar, because they wanted to be under direct center's care, because they thought that way they will be free from discrimination and Ladakh will develop better. Somewhere down the line, the issue of statehood came along and they're asking to be included in the 6th schedule. We know from history that so far the benefits of 6th schedule are only given to certain states in the northeast. Do you think these demands are subjects which can be kept on the table and they can be discussed?
Smitaji, my personal interaction with these people over the years, because been serving there since 1982 and virtually till about 2014 and even later, I realized that there are people who can be interacted with. That is number one. The population has again and again said being so limited that we may have fear of influx from outside just might change the demography. That is the fear. The third thing is that should the population aspect change over. Now you found that, like you said, you were there in 2019. It was this boy Namgyal who was the part of that Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council then. That boy, they were later a member of parliament. So they were fantastic when the abrogation of 370 took place. And that means for almost 9 to 10 years, they were in control of the entire thing. Now you suddenly find Hanifa, an independent candidate who is none other than National Conference candidate, who is now representing these members. So the requirement.
So what do you think happened? Why do you think this shift happened?
Yeah, no, whatever. Very difficult to say for the political parties who they wish to nominate or whatever it is. But we found that there is something that, the 6th schedule part and the Article 371. Now, they in Ladakh seem to feel that they are also tribal. 94% of is tribal community, and that they need protection, and that therefore this influx of what maybe investors coming from outside. The people might have money, which rightly so, people have money, might invest in tourism. Now, tourism is one huge industry over there. Like people bring in money, start constructing hotels over there. Obviously, they will lose a lot of employment. Now, roads, everything are being constructed. If people from outside start coming in and start constructing roads with their labor, they feel that the local chaps might lose their this thing. So there is a fear. And so therefore, this fear can be done away with when you start interacting with them and tell them, no, the tourism part will remain with you. Nobody will come from outside and invest money into you. And therefore, 6th schedule will not. Because some give and take has to be there. Because people, all others, like you rightly said, are instigating them. Now, this fears are instigation. Look, you will lose your job. These people from outside will come. You hear Dr. Karan Singh a lot of times used to say, now also he says, why we wanted it? Because the Punjabis will come to Jammu and Kashmir with the money and take away all the jobs, and therefore we said Dogris and Jammus and Kashmiris. So therefore, even now also imagine that kind of an impression, and the creation, that mindset is there. Hence, it is important that the 6th schedule and Article 371, what is there in the Northeast, may be extended with some kind of a this thing to at least, give them a feeling of satisfaction that your job, your this thing, education is giving them aspiration. All these boys from Ladakh and girls from Ladakh are studying in Chandigarh, Jammu, Delhi, all over. And therefore, they see that what is happening in the other area. The aspiration.
Yes, but as you know, General, as you know, new engineering colleges, medical colleges, institutions have been announced. They have already been built and work is underway. They are all becoming operational very soon. So we hope these grievances will not be, they will not escalate so much as we have seen. But I just have time enough for a very quick take from General Pandey before we wind up. Sir, as General Kulkarni was pointing out, this apprehension, this fear of demographic shift, change in the demography of these areas and the local population, which is usually quite sparsely populated, being overwhelmed by outsiders, people from outside, is also becoming a very serious concern in most of our border areas. Assam, we have seen the situation, West Bengal, even Jharkhand, and now these Himalayan states are also feeling the pressure. Do you think these fears are also somewhere being played upon by the people to create unrest?
Well, just, I have served 7 tenures in Valley. The last one was very interesting because that is the time one realized that number of people from Kashmir were moving into Kargil, right?
Yes.
He just brought out, Sir has just brought out about the population differential. 47% in Kargil, and we know who they are. right? And 40% in Leh Ladakh region, the northern part, and they're totally different people. The moment they get state, and I can assure you that the voting happens in a very different pattern. They should know what exactly will happen when the state comes in being. The problem was with the BJP government themselves, they had promised, you see, this was not a demand from the Ladakhis. That was part of the manifesto, and that is what they wanted to get the manifesto back. We're pretty happy at UT, and thereafter they have now added additional demands. Now, how this demand is going to play out, possibly they should know how it is going to hit. The second point is, this issue has been coming even in Jammu and Kashmir. And I keep on saying that money will come, but people from the plains are not going to settle down in Leh and Ladakh. And when the money comes, the money is going to be only for advantage for people from Leh and Ladakh. After all, they don't have anything of their own to sell. The funds will come from somewhere else. But nobody is, because as very rightly brought out, for 6 months, Ladakhis themselves stay only in Ladakh, and rest of the time they are staying elsewhere. Everybody who's a middle income and above goes out and settles down into Goa and other places, and they shift. There are two set of businesses. One for summers in Leh Ladakh, and for winters they go out to Goa and other places. So, you know, when this whole thing is happening, this change, this fear is unfounded.
So
And
the
this is
fears
what
are
the
exaggerated,
government-
are you saying, or somebody is provoking those fears?
No, the fears, when they have to come, the settlement will start happening, trust me, will start happening from Kashmir, Rohingyas, others will come, right? But that is with a deliberate system of shifting the pattern. But anybody from Punjab will come down and settle down in this thing and take over the businesses is unlikely to happen. There were no protest, concerns, issue of identity crisis before 370. Why has it started happening now?
Why do you think?
The question is, somebody is trying to instigate it. There was just no protest. Jab garibi thi, when the people were actually poor, they were not having enough. There were no roads have come up. You imagine the communication from Leh, it takes you not more than a day and a half to reach Jammu today.
Yes.
But that time everybody was saying कि हमारे पास road नहीं है. Today you have road, but you have protest coming in. Why so?
So it is not organic is what you are saying, but I am afraid, gentlemen, that's all the time we had. We'll have to bring a wrap up to this conversation for this evening. We should get along together in another episode because there were so many complexities that, as you have both pointed out, that we need to understand better. For now, thank you very much, General Kulkarni, General Pandey, both of you for joining us at such short notice. So, as our guests have pointed out, political engagement is the need of the day. But then the question remains, when the process of dialogue had already been given out, who wanted to create hurdles just before that dialogue? Also, we hope peace and calm returns to the mountains and valleys of Ladakh. We will keep an eye on the situation and come back in our next episode of Media Scan next weekend. Till then, namaskar.